Hey guys, I wanted to give you an update on the Premier1 automatic chicken coop door and tell you my thoughts on it, whether you should get it or not. It's been about a year since I got it. We're gonna deal with the guineas the entire time I'm shooting this video because something strange is happening, so they have to tell the whole neighborhood. Anyway, we're gonna get to that in just a second, so stay tuned to find out pros, cons, and if I get the door or not. And you'll get the guinea's opinion too. I'm Kelsey from roughandtumblefarmhouse.com, where every single week I share stories about farming, family food, and fortitude here on our 5-acre homestead in northern Minnesota. Okay, so I'm not gonna do like YouTubers often do, where they say stay to the end to find out if I'd get this or not. We're busy people. I'm gonna cut right to the chase. Yes, I would get this again. If this thing broke down, I would replace it immediately. I love this coop door. It is a game changer, a life changer. I'm gonna show it to you guys. I'll link to the video where I installed it, and then I will talk about the pros of it, the cons of it. There are very few cons as far as I'm concerned, and let you know how it did in a very long, tough Minnesota winter. So if you watch the original video where I'm installing this, I talk about how there's two options. It can run on the battery pack, or this one I bought specifically because it can also run on being plugged in. But at the time I didn't really want to drill through my coop wall because I didn't want to hit some mysterious electrical thing I wasn't aware of. And so I had it run on the batteries. So I installed it last June. I think it went until maybe March on 4 AA batteries. That's all the way through Minnesota winter. I think the coldest actual air temperature we got to was maybe the -40s this year, plus with wind chill. And the batteries lasted that long. When the battery stopped working, it made this kind of high-pitched, like, squeaking sound. And so I was like, oh my gosh, no, it's broken. But I just swapped the batteries out, and it was fine. So I don't know if that's some sort of, like, alert it does, or that was just a fluke, but I did notice that it did that. Next thing, how did it do during the winter? It did really, really well. There was maybe 3 times total where it did not shut, and that was only when we had really nasty, like icy, blizzardy type condition. Like pretty much all the other snow and stuff handled just fine. You just kind of kept the door clear. But when we did have that sort of sleet sort of thing where it's like caked on stuff, you have to like chip it away, it did have problems. But again, it was just like 3 times I just cleared the little track that it goes in, and it continued to work just fine. So handled winter awesome. Battery life was great. So yeah, I mean, it works. It's amazing. I love having this thing. I'll talk about the 2 things I see as like downsides, or just kind of like one weird situation. If you don't have guineas, don't get guineas. Let me just say that, because if you're not aware of what that obnoxious sound is, it's my husband's guineas. So it does have, and I'm sorry it's dark here, I pretty much get no time to work on blog stuff until it's after, blog or YouTube stuff until it's like after dark. So this is the light sensor. I have it hooked up, but I don't use it. You can manually set it to open and close at specific times. Hold on, I just have to go put these birds in a stew pot real quick. Okay, so the one thing it kind of did randomly is I had it set for a certain time last winter, and then without me changing the time, it started closing earlier than the time I had set it for. Which ultimately was a good thing because it was like daylight savings, and then it was getting darker earlier. The reason why I chose to do a manual time versus the light sensors, because these idiot guineas do not go in oftentimes until very late, if they go in at all. And so I wanted to open up or close up later in the hopes that they would go in at night versus the chickens who go in kind of when it gets dusky, which is nice. So that was, I don't know if I consider it a negative, but it was just kind of a weird thing that it just made the decision to adjust its own time, which in the end was fine, but it was also kind of just odd. The only other negative that I see about having this sort of system is the fact that I'm a less attentive chicken keeper. So normally you open your birds up in the morning, you see everybody come out. At night, you close them up. I'd go in, I'd do like a chicken count to make sure we weren't losing anybody to predators. You can kind of see, does anybody look a little sick? Does anybody have, twine wrapped around their leg? Is everybody okay? And you don't really do that as much, if at all, when the coop door is just opening and closing for you. So that's something. We've definitely lost some birds. We ended up with so many chickens this year. It was a whole thing. That we definitely lost chickens to predators, and I had no idea because I didn't know how many chickens we had, because the chickens kept sneaking off and hatching eggs. And then I also wasn't keeping regular chicken counts. So that's one thing to kind of be aware of, is that your chicken husbandry might be affected by having the auto coop door. So really, those are kind of the biggest pros in terms of how well it functioned just as a machine. The very few cons I can think of when it comes to this automatic coop door. Again, if this thing broke down, I would immediately replace it because it is such a lifesaver. It's so nice on the weekends that we can fill up feeders and waterers and the chickens can still get out. We don't have to have someone stop out for the birds. It's really important to us that our farm can kind of self-operate and is self-contained, can do its own thing for like a weekend if we want to be away. So basically, you know, there's one day where we're not here. If we leave Friday, come home Sunday, it's just that Saturday we're not here. It's important to us that the farm can just continue on its own. So overall, very happy with Coop Door. If you have any specific questions about it, just comment below and I'm happy to answer. I'm not affiliated with Premier1. I would love it if I was affiliated with Premier1. If anybody's watching from Premier1 and you want to sponsor me, I will wear your shirts any day. I always love Premier1 products. They ship fast. They always work well. I'm a huge fan of Premier1. So, and the same goes for the auto coop door. So get one, it'll change your life. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you next week for more farming, family food, and fortitude here at our Rough and Tumble Farmhouse.